Hi everyone. Okay, we've got a couple of more minutes before we officially start. So let's wait for a few more people.
Just a quick sound check that you can hear us and you can see the screen. If someone could put a hand up and let me know. Fantastic. Thank you so much. Okay. Well, it's 5 o'clock, so let's get a little start. Welcome to today's session on updating your letters and templates. A couple of little housekeeping things. Hold on a second while I mute people in my background. Apologies, people in this household seem to forget that I'm on a webinar after I've just announced it to them 3 times. All right, so a couple of housekeeping things. If you've got any questions at all, please put them in the little questions box. I'll attempt to answer them as we go through, or we'll answer them towards the end of the webinar. You'll also find that I've put a PowerPoint in the attachments in the materials there, the little paperclip there. You'll find it that you can download it. This is a PowerPoint of all the screenshots that I'm going to go through in the actual GovReports program today. What else? I think that's it. We'll get started. So once again, welcome to Updating Your Letters and Templates. What we're going to be looking at today is how we can onboard clients with professional engagement letters, how we can use and customize our letters and templates, how we can use and customize Office Practice Manager templates as well, and how using Office Practice Manager templates can help streamline your processes for efficient workflow. So obviously, engagement letters are one of the most important documents you're going to need in your practice because they set the scope and the expectations for both your practice and your client, and they therefore should form part of your quality management system. And we all know about the quality management system that most of the smaller practices like myself have to implement by the 1st of July. And for those who are in the larger ones, they had to implement it by the 1st of January. Now, by setting that scope, the expectations and the pricing that it offers some protection for both your practice and your clients should a disagreement arise in either of these areas. It says sets out exactly what you are going to be doing. So there is no expectations of anything outside of that because it's all set out there in your engagement letter. And it's exactly for these reasons that we should be onboarding our clients via an engagement letter. Now, just a little heads up. In the help button here, you will find a user guide that will provide you with lots of information. In the My Practice area here, you'll find templates and letters that you can go to. It's not showing up on the screen because it's not showing that screen. Anyway, if I go back and just mention to you, go and have a look at this area here in the help button. It will take you to that user guide. Something to do with my sharing of the screen. I've got to flick between 2 different tabs otherwise. So that help center will set out a lot of what we've got here as an additional bit of information for you.
I think you're still not, sorry, Ali, you're still not sharing the...
Yes, I'm just going to have a look at my share the sharing settings. So I think I'll just go to the window. Bear with me for a minute and I'll reshare it, and then they might be able to see it better. That's better.
Yep.
So there we are with the user guide. If you go into the My Practice, down here, you'll find templates and letters. So things we're going to cover today, you'll also find that reinforcement back here for you. All right. So how do we access our templates and our letters? Well, we can access it through the My Practice area in the navigation here and go to templates and letters. Oh, of course, it wants to try and log me out. It'll come back on in a second. That's better. But alternatively, you can go to your settings in the top right here on the gear icon under practice settings, and then it'll take you to your letters and templates again. You see here with our practice settings, and you can see the templates and letters. It was just a bit slow, the screen, in coming up. So when we actually access our templates and our letters, we will be presented with the names of the templates there. You'll also see who the owner is. So these are the ones, default ones that have been set up in here by GovReports. And you can see here, there are a number of letters: discontinuation of engagement, authority and appointment as a BAS agent letter of engagement. There'll be more if you're a tax agent. At the moment, mine is showing a BAS agent view because that's my login in this one here. So this is where we can view our templates. Now I'm also going to go back here to my templates and letters and show you that when I go to this area here, I can go there to view those templates like I saw a moment ago. I can go here to add a template. And I can also see the status of the templates that are here. You can see that there are 8 draft ones, and if I click on that, it will filter it to show me only the draft ones. The same with pending, etc. and the acceptance. So as I mentioned, in here, we've got the view templates, which just takes us to that screen I was showing you at first. And so in here, we can see who created this. And I'm logged in as a specific company, etc. And in here, we can go to the add template. We'll get to that a little bit more. But before we go adding new templates, what we need to ensure that we have customized the services that we're actually offering our clients. So if I go up into my settings and my practice settings, what I'm looking for is my new client services. So in here, I can set up all the types of client services that I currently offer. So you can see in here, I'm talking here about bookkeeping, payroll. I can break it down into these categories, etc. Service delivery, all these other things. I could put what are out of scope services. So what I would do is go through, first of all, and add to or edit my new services list. So I'm sure that all my services are there because they are going to form a part of what we're going to bring in to our engagement letter. Once we've gone through and done that, we're going to go to our templates. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back to here I'm going to view my templates, and I'm going to click on the add a new template when I get to my templates menu. So this is when I am creating a new template. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a new engagement letter, and I'm going to call it an engagement letter, including the authority to act as a VAS agent with an annual STP declaration. And I'm going to say this is for specifically my zero clients. Oh, zero. Now I'm going to choose what it is. Is it a proposal? Is it an engagement? Or is it an ethical letter template? This is going to be an engagement letter. Just going to save it for the moment. Oh, have to have my content first. And I'm going to select here the practice name. And in here, I'm going to say it's a confirmation of agreement for services between the practice name. Oh, helps if I can spell properly. So this is one I'm doing from absolute scratch. And I want to select the client name now. The client name. And then I would continue on. Etc. So I would continue on. Now, that's if I'm typing it up from scratch. Why reinvent the wheel? You want to type up that engagement letter, but you might want to use one of the professional bodies' engagement letters and then just copy and paste it into here. Insert your placeholders where you want them and go through and edit it to make it truly what you want it to be. So that's my suggestion, is rather than typing it all from scratch, actually take an existing engagement letter from one of the professional bodies or one that you have in Word or something like that and copy and paste it in here, and then go through and put in all the different in bits and pieces that you want to do. So I'm going to save that here for the moment. So I've set that engagement letter up now, and you can see it's been set up as a template. So I'd have the basic format of what it is. I tailor it to my needs. And remember that in these templates, we're not just limited to engagement letters. We could also do onboarding letters to welcome our new clients. We could do a next step letter. Now that they're on board, the next thing you need to do is, nominate us as a BAS agent, access to the accounting software, all those sorts of things that are necessarily part of it. You might use it to create the template itself is different, but you might use, you'll use the templates maybe for onboarding and next steps, etc. But you might use letters for things such as newsletters. You might use it for your terms and conditions or updating your terms and conditions. You may use it for many other things. It's not just limited to engagement letters. I'm just trying to, I'm thinking, my head's thinking ahead and I'm sort of, don't want to lose my train of thought. Now, at the present moment, you can sort of see the different types of templates there are there. But for scheduled after end of year, there will be an update to new client service lists, the BAS preparation template, the end of year template, the payroll end of year template. As you can see, the discontinuation of engagement letter has already come in now, and there'll also be a new one, which will be a QMS checklist, which will be really useful. So we've gone through and we have added that new template. Once the template is saved, it now would normally, we could just go straight into this template. We could open it and click on Start. And we could go through and bear with me for a moment. I've lost my train of thought again. We could go through and add the services because the bare template itself doesn't have all the services in it. That's what I was trying to think about. So in here, when we open it up, when I go back to this screen, I'll do that a little bit more clearly for you. When I go to my engagement letter here, for example, and I go to my templates, view my templates here, I can add a new template here, but the minute I choose this here, when I click Start, it turns into a letter. It's using the template to create a letter. Now, when we start that, it will prompt us to enter in start and finish dates. It will then allow me to put in the different placeholders in here. And if my engagement letter was totally complete there, I would have more information. But now I get to choose the services. Oh, I need to choose a client. So I'm going to select a particular client that I'm going to do this for. So I've added that client in now. Now I'm going to add my services. So from within here, through my checklist, I check all the services that are applicable for this one. So it might be I'm just doing payroll for this one, and we'll do all of this. We'll manage their entitlements, etc. We'll do all of this sort of stuff. This one I might have updated to say we would do the STP finalization. So I could have gone in and edited that to make that as a change, or change it to say, prepare, manage, and lodge STP. So I'll just tick that for the moment. Then I could say I'm going to do the BAS agent services. So we'll tick all of those. That's good. Okay. They don't have a TPAR. What sort of end of year services will I do? So I can choose exactly what it is that I want to include as my services. So then I would save that. I'm going to save it. I'm going to preview what it looks like. So at the moment, I don't know why that is. Let me just hide that for a moment and hide that for the moment. So you can see what it's showing me at the moment. Helps if I click off the right place. So once again, I'm going to go here to my services, make sure, yeah, they're all there. Yeah, save, wonderful, excellent. And Tiana, I'm wondering why my services aren't showing on here at the moment when I preview. Normally I would preview and I would email to the client, and I'm just wondering why my services aren't coming up. Normally they do. And at the moment it's only
Oh,
showing.
sorry, I was speaking on the muted. When you do, you need to put in the placeholder, even though you add the services. So the
Oh,
placeholder.
that's what I forgot to put in. See if it's going to come up this time. There we go. So you can see now my services are all listed in there as to what it is that I'm doing. So I can preview that before I send it to the client. Then I could go to email it to my client, and I could send it off. Now at the moment, I'm not going to send it off. I'm going to leave it as it is. I'm going to save this, and I can see here that I have this engagement letter. So I'm going to go back here now, and I'm going to see if I've got any pending ones here, any drafts. So here's the draft that I've just created. So you can see here, there's my draft. Here are the things that I can do with this. I can go through and edit it. I can send it to the client, or I can send it for e-signature. If I send it for e-signature, it will automatically go to open up the GovReports digital authorization. You can see the engagement letter is attached. I could choose my message. I'm just going to put any message for the moment. Or I could just create a brand new message and put it in. Put it in twice. Yeah. Review and signature. And then, whatever, kind regards. You'd have some more than that, but, then we go there. Oh, of course. And then I'd go next. And in here, I could specify, normally it would have had more details in it about where the signatures go. I could specify for their signature. I could specify that it has when it's signed. I could add in, my company name or their company name. And then over here, I might have my signature, the date it was signed, and my company name. So they're getting a signed copy from me that's requiring their signature. And then I could simply send that to them. The new templates will be available after end of financial year, I'm assuming you mean by that, Tiana. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
It will be, yeah, we are working on it. It will be updated as part of the QMS update. Yeah, unfortunately, it won't be before the financial year ends.
And in terms of when we want to, now you can see here now that I'm at my templates and letters, I can now choose to add a letter, and then I can choose from which template I want to use in here. Now, if I choose a client in here, you see down the bottom here, oh,
You
no,
didn't
that's not.
select the client.
Yes, you can't add a client on the go, can you? You have to have the client set up from the beginning.
No, you can. Once you add the template, then you can go to that template and add the client.
But if the client's not already in your list of clients, you can't.
That's correct.
You so that's for Susan was asking the question, do we need to set up the client prior to setting up the proposals? And the answer is yes.
It
So
will be added as a lead.
yeah,
You can add the client as a lead into your my clients list.
here, yes. So you need to do, but you need to do that before you add them to an engagement letter.
Yep, you
Yeah.
can add them so you're working.
You can't add them on the fly as you're doing the engagement letter is what I'm asking.
Correct. You might the new
Yeah.
client details might just have name and their name and maybe ABN and some contact details, and then you do the engagement
Yeah.
without adding to the portal.
Yeah. So that's a little bit about how we set up our templates and how we can create our letters. Now, one of the things here, if we look at our clients here, so in here we have our different clients, and you can see here lead, active, lost, etc. Active are active clients. They're ones that we've actually got going. Leads are ones that are, that are just that. They are a lead. So we've got that sitting there so we can do it. And in here, we can actually modify our client statuses in the actual client record to show what status they're at, whether they are active, whether they're archived, whether they're a lead. So the current status of this one is active. If I wasn't servicing this client anymore, then I would still want to keep this record here because I have to keep all the information that I've lodged for the last 5 years. So I would modify my client status to archive. It's still in there, but it's archived, and I can unarchive it if I need to. So that's just something to bear in mind. Keeping your client list nice and tidy. I got a reminder today, just to give you a reason why I thought this is important too. I got a reminder today that my outstanding reports wasn't syncing with 3 clients. Well, 2 of those I don't do anymore. I'd forgotten to turn off the outstanding reports in here. This feature, I'd forgotten to turn it off, and so it was coming up and saying it. So then I moved them to archive and took the outstanding reports off so that they would no longer, show. So once again, you just modify the client status here. All right, I'm not going to spend too much more time on that. Tiana, one of the things about when you've got a lost client, I can see where I would go through normally, and I would normally make a client lost if it was a lead. Does that lost option only come up if they're in lead status rather than
Yep,
active status?
that's correct.
That's what I thought. So I haven't got anyone who's in lead status at the moment, Susan, so I can't show you how to move it to lost. I would assume that if it's in lead status, so if I move, say, this one, and let's see if I can move that to lead status to show you. Change the status and change them to a lead. So now that status has been updated as a lead. If I go back to my clients, I have one lead. Now, if I lost that client, in here, if I modify my status, you'll see now I could move it to lost. I'm going to put it back to activate, but you could move it to lost. So in here, what I was looking at there were templates around engagement letters, discontinuance letters, STP letters, those sort of letters sort of things. But there are also the templates that we have in our Office Practice Manager. And I don't know if any of you were with us on Tuesday night. But on Tuesday night, we looked at Office Practice Manager as a system. Now, it comes free with your GovReports subscription. And down in the My Practice area, you'll find that you have jobs and you have a number of templates. The job templates are broken down into task templates and job templates. If you use this area, you can set up the tasks that make up a job that is associated with your client. So if you're using this to practice the workflow of your practice, this is where you can do it. So in here, we have some default task templates. So the default task templates will include things such as, just waiting for it to come up, see, my computer's telling me it's had a long day, so it's tired. BAS preparation template, end of year template, payroll end of year template. So these are the default ones that come with GovReports. When you create your own ones, they form into this custom task template. A job template is different because a job contains a number of tasks. So within the job, you'll find the tasks that make up that job, and within the task, you can create checklists. The beauty of this is that it gives a consistent approach to all the client work that you do in preparing, in this instance, payroll STP finalization. Or it could be to do with BAS, it could be to do with tax returns, it could be to do with TPAR returns, it could be to do with fringe benefit tax returns. But it offers a consistent approach that if you set up these templates, you'll have your job template to begin with. It'll be made up a number of tasks. You might have task templates there. And then all of those tasks within them would have a checklist of items that make up what you want to do. So you can see here, check all the employees' details for current addresses and tax file numbers. And I normally schedule that about a month before end of financial year to make sure that, that everybody's addresses are correct. Making sure any full stops and commas are out of it because it throws things out. Check that all the terminations and terminated employees have a termination date and that's been recorded properly. Depending what software you're using, you might check the annual leave entitlements flag has a carry remaining entitlement turned on. That's specifically MYOB, but things like that. Then you'll go through and make sure that you have done your reconciliations. So first of all, you're going to make sure that the bank rec's been done. Then you're going to go through and reconcile your general ledger and everything for the year. Then you're going to go through and run your different reports. You're going to reconcile your PAYG withholdings, and you can see that I haven't updated this to say income state summaries. We don't have to, this would have to be amended for the STP finalization, obviously. So then you would go through, and then this one, rollover payroll year, this really shows you that it's an MYOB file, because if you are using online files, usually it does it itself. And we don't need to load new tax tables if we're using online files. They also happen themselves. So you can see here that you've got these number of tasks here. So creating templates in here. So in here, we have these task templates that actually contain all those checklists. So that when we then get to a point where we're actually creating a job for a client, that we want to create all these different jobs for our clients, we can then draw in these templates into those jobs. So creating the template first is the first step to getting everything set up. Now, once you've set up your jobs, you find them showing in the schedule area. And if they are recurring in nature, it will specifically tell you how frequently it has to happen, when it last occurred, and when the next occurrence of it will be. When we look at the My Tasks, these are the tasks that have already been set up within the existing jobs. And usually when you see My Tasks, they're usually ones that have specifically been assigned to you. Now let's take a look at our task templates again, because I want to show you how you can create a task template. So you can create your own task template, or alternatively, you can clone an existing task template. When you clone a task template, you give it a new name. So I'm doing end of year. I'm just going to call it something different. Whether or not you share it with all members who have access to your GovReports account. Normally you would say yes. I've got no one else in here, so I'm saying no. And what that does now is it has actually, you can see that it's pulled in everything that was already in my end of year template. It's brought in all that information. Now I choose which job that I want to assign it to, that I have set up in my system. I can attach it to that job. I'm just going to look at the other page first before I do that. No. And then I can attach that. And I have created a new task template. So let me just go back to our task templates. Where's my task template gone? Did I not save it? It's because I've attached it to a job. No. That's very interesting. Let me go back. Let's do that one more time. Clone it. Give it a name. It already exists. You tell me where you've put it. I will find it eventually. Should be in my custom task templates. Oh, I forgot to click the word clone. Silly me. I haven't attached it to a job this time. So, no. It should be in my custom task templates. There it is. I didn't look to the second page. Silly me. Long day. I can only make an excuse for being a long day. So here you can see now, because I cloned it from a default one, it's not going to put it in the default one. It's going to recognize it as something that I have created, and therefore it is a custom one. So you will find any clones that you do of a task template will appear in the custom task template. Can you attach more than one job, or is it for clients? So in here, you can attach that task to multiple jobs, as you can see, if I wanted to. I'm not going to in this case. You can also go through later when you've got your jobs and you look at your scheduled jobs. Or your my jobs. It was testing. The job was testing. So this one that I created, that I had done the clone with, you can see here that I can go back in. I've got all my tasks and bits and pieces and timesheets and all that sort of stuff. I can go in and edit my jobs. If I have jobs that are scheduled, I can also make changes here where I can change the actual schedule. When I have a job template, I can attach my job templates to my clients. The task templates I attach to the jobs. The job templates are what I attach to the clients. Now, if I want to create a brand new task template, I go to my custom task template tab and click on the new. I give it a name, and in here, I can create my tasks. And I can save that. And I'm not sure why it's doing something weird tonight, but normally you would just click save and it would create the new template for you. So you add in your tasks. When you have your custom task template, you can then go through and actually in your task name, you can add items to your checklist. So you can expand that checklist. So that is a template that we're creating. These are templates we're creating. So once we've created these task templates, we then have the jobs we do. So there are things that we do all the time. We do BASs, we do tax returns, we do FBT lodgements, we do TPARs, we do payroll processing. These are repetitive jobs we do all the time. By creating task templates and creating jobs, we can be more effective and productive in the way that we do our work. And we also, as I said before, have this consistent approach to the way we treat those tasks across the practice. Any of our task templates can be amended when we go to our task template area by simply clicking onto it and clicking on edit. So in here, I can edit it. I can just go into here and add the different bits and pieces that I want to, etc. Job templates are different. A job template is either a single job template, which is not recurring in nature, or it is a recurring job template. Now, these tasks that we're doing, if you think about that, this is actually going to form part of the policies and procedures that are in your quality management system. Getting this all organized here is part and parcel of getting your QMS together. It'll be the documentation behind, your checklist, your task lists, everything like that will form part of your QMS if you choose to use it this way. When you create a job template as a single template, you cannot then turn it into a recurring template. When we create a new recurring job template, we simply click New. We give the job a name. If we are doing our billing through here, we would choose the billing here. I usually use the same name here. That's just me. How frequently do we do it? We do it annually. When's the start date? Well, I like to start it on the 1st of April 25. And when does it end by? I have no end date in mind. And when it creates this recurring job template, it's going to create one additional recurrence. So it's going to create this one, plus it's going to create the one for the 1st of the 4th, 26. Am I going to share it with all members? I don't have any other members in here at the moment. Okay, so in here, I'm going to say that I need this done in 15 days. What priority? High, low, medium? Might be medium. And the status when you start it is this, and who's managing it? So you have your manager in here, and who is going to be working on this one? You can assign it to particular people. Then I go next. Now I get to choose a task template. So I might choose, if I've got one for FBT, which I don't, I'll just choose one for the moment so I can test it to show you. And I copy that task template in. So I'm not recreating everything. That's why I do the task templates first. Brought everything in that I'm going to do, blah, blah, blah. I, at this stage, can go through and delete, and edit. I could go through and edit this whole thing, and then I would save it. The next thing it's going to ask me is, which clients do I want this? So I can attach it to all the clients that I do the FBT returns for. So I might do the FBT returns for these people and this people. And I have a tendency to edit the name here. If I do this, it'll call it My Girl Designs -FBT return. Well, when it turns up in the list, it already shows that it's My Girl Design, so I don't want that repeated again, so I change it so it just says FBT return. And then I go Submit. And let it save the information. So it tells you here it's created 2 successfully. Can you see now it's created 2 FBT returns for these ones. I would then go in as I'm working on it, and as I actually am completing my tasks, I would mark them all off. So I could, in here, I could tick this box at the top, mark them all as complete, the first one, then tick the top one, mark them all as complete. And I'm just going to do all of them so I can show you what happens. There is another way to do this, but so in here I could actually go to my task and I could do them all in one hit there, but I'm just going to do it here for the moment. Okay, so they're all complete. So now in here, I'm going to go through and I'm going to actually edit. I'm just going to save that as it is. Then when I look at my scheduled jobs, I'm now going to go through here and I'm going to say, okay, well, this one now, I am ready to close it. So in my scheduled jobs, I'm ready to close it. I can go through the process of closing it. I can also look at my tasks here, which has all the tasks. So all the stuff with the FBT return, everything, all my tasks here. And it tells you the job that it relates to in here. So if I go FBT, oh, helps if I put a T. Oh, come on. Thinking. So you can see here, all the stuff here. I can see that in these other ones, these ones are showing as open and not started. I can go through and I can mark all of these as completed and close the job off. I'm not going to do that for the moment. So you see there's quite a lot of powerful stuff that you can do here with these templates. It gives you that ability to control your workflow. So when you're looking at your jobs, you can see the status of where your jobs are at. You can see what's been finalized, what's been lodged. You can filter in here what you want to see. So if you want to see only the jobs that are overdue or the ones that are upcoming, or you want to see all the closed jobs, you can do that. Can you import tasks from Excel instead of typing each line? Not that I am aware of. A task is a list of things that need to be done within a job. You need to create your tasks first. So as part of the BAS, you'll reconcile the bank accounts, you'll check the GST coding. Those things that you do within that job of the BAS preparation are tasks. Create those first. So once you set up those task templates and you delegate your jobs, it gives you that greater visibility and control. And you can use the search bar up here to look for specific jobs, schedule rates. You can sort in here by the dates, and this is how you can manage the flow and the workflow in your practice, if that makes sense. So just to top off what we've covered tonight, we've actually looked at 2 sections. We've looked at the actual letters and templates, or templates and letters that are associated with running your practice, things such as, let me just fold that up a bit so I can get to it, such as engagement letters, disengagement letters, etc., and setting up templates for those, and also setting up services for those. And then we've looked at, in the managing of your practice side of things, setting up for your workflow using task templates and job templates for streamlining your processes. Now, there's a question here from Susan. Every time you set up a new client on a job, will the system add another job number for it? So every job number will have its own individual job number for it. So it'll have a J0123, and the next one that it creates will be the next sequential number. So if you've got 27 clients all doing BAS returns, they will all have their own individual job numbers associated separately. They won't be the same job number. And I think that covers everything for tonight. Are there any other questions? When you do a proposal, you need to set up a client even as a lead because a TFN or ABN. How can we go around it? You'll need to have an ABN, and you can look that up on the ABN register. When you're doing a proposal, it's not like you're meaning when you're setting it up in here, when you do a new client here. So you choose a number. You can always choose that you don't have an ABN or TFN to get round it. But if you want, like the proposal, you may not necessarily want to have that in there, but the engagement letter you might. So, yeah, you could choose that option of don't have an ABN and TFN.
We do have dummy TFN and ABNs, but once if you use one of those, one of the dummy ABNs, then if the if and when you have a that client's, like you got to change that when the client move from lead to a loss or whatever, you got to remove the clients because the same TFN or ABN cannot be used again.
Are you able to print off the tasks assigned to a job? Yes, from memory, I know I've printed them before. So in here in my tasks, I've gone into a specific job, because when I was setting up my office practice manager, I actually printed it off from my old system and then did it here. And see how up the top here you can print it? So if I print it, I don't know if it's going to show me. Well, there it is. It's got everything, the status of everything and what's been happening with it and what's been done. So yes, is the answer to that question. You can print it. And thank you, Susan, for your comment. Happy to be able to help Tuesday and now. The client is a company, doesn't it? Can you get? I think that question, Natalia, about the client is a company and does not have an ABN or TFN.
They must, if they are taxpayer, they must have either ABN, TFN, or WPN or another type. Just ask them how does the ATO trustee company? Sandeep, are you on?
I thought trustee companies still had ABNs.
Yeah.
Sorry, can I say that again?
Mine does.
Well, so Natalia is saying there's a trustee company, they don't have ABN or TFN. How do you
All
add them onto
right. So currently we need either ABN or TFN to add into GovReports
or WPN.
or WPN.
What about ACN?
No, ACN. It's not, no, you can't use the ACN.
ACN is from, yeah, ACN is from the,
ACN, you can add the ACN, but it is not going to be a primary identifier for the client. But certainly you need ABN, TFN, or WPN to add a client.
hmm,
And just a reminder too, I talked about outstanding reports. This is where you can set up the outstanding reports to be pulled. So all the outstanding BAS tax, whatever is outstanding that you're doing, will appear here too.
Natalia, relating to your questions, I will come back and find out more, and I'll come back to you separately.
All right, I'll leave Natalia's question to you as far as company secretarial.
Mm.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. I hope that, as I said, don't forget you have this user guide here, and it takes you through how to, in the practice, do your templates and letters, talks about the new clients, etc., templates and letters and setting them up. You can see all the information about adding your engagement letter templates and adding your letters and all the bit that, and adding your services and all the rest of that. And that's in that new client services area. And then you can go and have a look in the jobs area, and that will take you through the jobs and the scheduled jobs and the tasks and the templates associated with it. So this templates and letters is about the first part we talked about. The jobs part in the user guide talks about all the area around jobs and tasks and custom tasks, etc. So hopefully that will be sent out. Now the recording, I believe, will be on the website sometime tomorrow. Is that right?
Correct.
And as I said, the PDFs of what we've been doing are attached in there if you haven't already seen them there. All
Um,
right.
go to webinar doesn't allow for me to attach the PDF separately. So for those that want the copy of the slides to the presentation slides today, just reply to that email and request for the copy of the presentations. Now,
There's one
Ali,
there in the attachment.
yeah. Oh, okay.
It's
And
there in the
also,
attachment. You can download it there.
yeah, you can download it here. You can, but otherwise, if you need a separate copy by email, just send an email back to us. The other thing, as Ali mentioned earlier, we are updating some of our templates, and it will be later after the financial year. We will, when that is done, we will let you know. Letters and templates, and also some of the documents, the client services, the all the templates.
Wonderful.
Cool. Well, thank you, everyone. If you have further questions and that you can think of, perhaps post this webinar, these sessions, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. Once again, thank you. Now, for those that register for Deborah's sessions next week, unfortunately, she's not well, so we have postponed it to later this month. Apologies to that to everyone, and we did have a bit of confusions when we sent it out because the date on the invite or the confirmation is actually different from the date that's actually on the calendar. So apologies again. But it will be on the 28th of April. Thanks again, everyone.
Good night,
Bye for
all.
now.